and sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast sports investors, and this is the Breakfast Bankroll. Blessed to be back today. Haven't been on the air live since Tuesday. A nor'easter that just ripped through the East Coast, especially Cape Cod. 2+ days, no internet, no power, no nothing. And they were comparing this to Hurricane Bob. And blessed to have all that good stuff back. Thank you to Eversource and all the hardworking guys out there. Chris Newman, if you're listening, thank you. Wouldn't be on today without you. Apologies to our weekly guests, Dave Sharapan, Andrew McGinnis. Hopefully we can double up next week and get some more shows on that we weren't able to provide during the week. And the people still without power and internet, prayers up. Candles lit, hoping that you can get it up sooner than later. Without further ado, my co-host, the man from the Palm Tree States himself, the one, the only, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty, sir, how are you?
Morning, Jeff, and glad to see you back. And everything is all good up there these days. And we're getting a little cold spell down here right now. So, I mean, us cold is a little different than up there, but it's still a little cold spell.
Well, nor'easter number 2 is coming today. They're saying it won't be obviously as bad as the one that we had earlier this week. This one's only going to bring, they're saying 1 to 3 inches of rain. I don't know about the winds. I mean, there were winds that gust 94 and 96 miles an hour up towards P-Town and Edgartown on Tuesday. Like you and I talked or text. I mean, it looked like, a war zone. It looked like a tornado had ripped through. I put some of the pictures up on my timeline on Twitter, sent you some. Crazy. And it's funny because the news, the weather guys, the meteorologists, when they hype up a storm, it's a dud. And when they say nothing, I swear we get smoked. So, of course, now everyone's saying, well, where were these guys? They didn't hype this one up and, we got smoked. So, but anyways, we got a big day of college football, obviously. I just wanted to quickly touch on the World Series since we haven't been around. 2-1 now. Braves are leading. Ian Anderson got 5 no-hit innings. Astros held to 2 hits. It looks like this series is, going to be a long one. Going to go that 6 or 7. It's been in every other. Braves, Astros, now Braves. Actually, I didn't even look. So let me, while I'm asking you, thoughts on the World Series before we dive into football. Maybe a quick thought about today. You can maybe tell me what you're thinking when you see today's game.
Well, I haven't really looked at what today's game is. I know Greinke's pitching for the Astros. The line's like minus 110 for the Braves or something. And when you look at what we talked about at the beginning of the series, I think that you're feeling pretty good if you did that. I mean, if you bet the Braves at the beginning of the series and got the plus price, you're in pretty good shape, because if you look at the series price on the Braves now, they're like minus 180. So, and we got them at, I think, plus 180 or something like that, or whatever the number was. And then that gives you leverage to pick your spots. So the first game we said, hey, go ahead and play the Braves, right? We said that, and the Braves won that game. So you almost double dipped, right? I mean, you played the series, you're winning the series, you won the game, and then you stay off the next game, right? We didn't know what was going to happen in the next game, so we sort of stayed off that game. I felt pretty good about the Braves yesterday. I bet the Braves yesterday, first home game for them in this series. They have not lost a home game in the playoffs. So that means a lot, and that tells me that they're real comfortable and energetic when they play at home. And then today's game, you might not even have to play if you don't want to. I mean, the reality is you're sitting in the catbird seat. So I always like to bet on the teams where you're going to have the balls in play, right? So Greinke's not a strikeout guy, so balls are going to get put into play, and that puts the Braves right on my radar screen. I just need to figure out what they're going to do in terms of their pitching today. It's a bullpen day for them. So what does that mean exactly? Does that mean they're going to have an opener and then they're going to throw Smiley for 3, 4, 5 innings? I don't know. Are they going to throw Wright, the kid, in there and let him throw some? That would be a better option in terms of being at home and let him pitch 3 or 4 innings tonight. So it's just I haven't figured this game out. I haven't really looked at it to know where the pitchers are. But I'm not sold on Greinke. And then the Astros had to use a lot of their bullpen guys yesterday too. So that's kind of how I feel. I mean, I feel like I don't have to play if I don't want to play because I'm doing really good in the series. So leverage is leverage, and I don't know if there's a whole lot of leverage today.
It was funny because we gave out the Braves in the series. We did lean the Braves game 1, stayed away. And then the Astros were plus 145 for the series after their loss in game 1. So we're guaranteed a quarter or a half unit already. Yesterday we dove into we had the Braves scared to death of Greinke. This would have been, I'm assuming, Morton's spot bullpen. I'm a little fuzzy here. Wood. What about Wood?
Wood for the Braves.
What do they have in there for length that they could go to?
Well, they have a young guy, Wright. I forget what his first name is, but he pitched last season, and he was one of the quote guys that's going to be like Ian Anderson, right? And those guys, but he never really prospered into that. So he didn't get a pitch much this year, and he didn't play a lot. It's not that he has bad. You know who else they can throw? They can throw Tuki Toussaint. I mean, they can take these guys and they can do things that you might not expect them to do. And then they have Smiley, and Smiley would be just like throwing Greinke. I mean, although I think Smiley at this point probably has better stuff than Greinke does, even though they didn't get paid as much. So I think that you're in a situation here where the Braves, they're going to get through this. It's just how are they going to get through it, and are they going to do a true bullpen game where you got a guy who goes out, throws an inning in a third, and 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 then or that's going to kind of be the mentality. One of these games they're going to have. I think the guy's name's Kyle Wright, by the way. I think they're going to have to get linked out of somebody. And to be honest, the Astros are in the same spot. I mean, what are they going to do when Greinke's done after today? Then they're going to bring back whatever the first guy was that started for him. And I just think that these guys are going to get taxed here pretty soon. And I think the bullpen is an advantage for the Braves. I think we've seen that already.
Yeah, and the total I think was 8.5. I'm going to dive later into that game as well. I just wanted your initial early thoughts. Like I says, we got less than just over an hour before the noon kickoffs. Want to get some the listeners and everyone watching here up to speed, maybe for some early games. It's funny. I got 7 games on my board from start to finish, and for me that's a lot. And a 12 o'clock game. I got a 3:30 first half play, 4 7 o'clock games, and then a closer at 10:30 as well. But again, some serious that I will be releasing to the VIPs. some leans, and the leans are, do I dive in or not? And then it's always interesting when you do or you don't. Does the spaghetti strainer hold back or not? But I'm gonna get I'll bring up the Bible so everyone can see that right now. We'll go with Don Best today, and let everyone take a look at that. All right, Scotty, there's the board. Go ahead. The stage is yours, sir.
Well, I think there's a ton of games today that we can watch. You're going to have to think about what you want to do for entertainment today versus what you're going to do to make money today. That's kind of how I looked at this. So I have two plays at noon that kick off. So I'll just go over those two plays real quick and then kind of hit on some other stuff. But I'm going to bet Pittsburgh today. That's 138, rotation number 138. Pittsburgh's playing the Miami Hurricanes. It's in Pittsburgh. The number is 9 or 9.5 right now. I'm good with either of those numbers. I have the game kind of more like 14 points for Pittsburgh, if not higher. There's the biggest difference this year is that Pittsburgh has a 28th ranked EPA offense versus an offense of Miami that's 87th. And when you think about that versus then you throw in the defense, Pittsburgh's defense ranks 9th. That tells me how's Miami's not going to move the ball that much. And, they've had the quarterback problems. They try to run the ball. I just don't think it's going to work out for them very well. Miami can't stop the run, and that's not Pittsburgh's strength. They throw the football, but I just look at it in a sense that Miami's in trouble. The other thing that I pulled out of this was Pittsburgh on defense is ranked 12th in pass rush rating, pressure on the quarterback. And the offensive line for Miami ranks 101. So that's not very good for Miami when they have 130 teams ranked 101, and you're going against the number 12 team and putting pressure on the quarterback. So they're going to have to try to run the ball, and I don't think that Miami's going to be able to run the ball and keep this game that close. I think it's a 2-touchdown game, at least 10 points. So I'm okay with Pittsburgh, especially at home in this game. When I was looking at the numbers and all the breakdown of the games and all that stuff, I found it kind of odd that it looked to me like in this particular game, the line is in a spot where the public's betting on Miami and the sharps were betting on Pittsburgh. Is what it looked like to me. Maybe you can give a little better insight to that game, but that was the way I saw it originally. Right now, it looks like 59% of the money or something like that is on Pittsburgh.
Well, it's funny because that game opened at 12.5 and immediately dropped. I'm seeing 9.5s all across the Vegas Strip. DraftKings currently at 9, minus 115. My initial split on that was a 57% ticket count on Pitt and 55% of the money on Pitt as well. So initially from the eye test, this game caught me so if you're only getting 45% of the money on Miami, it's sharper, heavier money coming in on Miami. And I was wondering initially with that big move, as we just got a 9 at Pinnacle now, so it's continuing to drop, if there was an injury or anything, because that's almost like, I know Pickett's had a great run and Pitt's been real profitable for us the last few weeks. So I'm kind of curious on that. Maybe Miami ends up being that, initial public trendy dog at noon. We know the noon. Listen, I've yelled this for a million years. I'm going to yell it one more time. Running to the window at noon. You wake up after, a long Friday night, you're groggy, you're down, and you want to get that money back. It's a kid in a candy store look. And, when's the last time you saw a guy run to the window to place a wager? And when did you ever see that guy come back to cash
Right.
that
I mean,
ticket? I never have. I haven't. So that's from my horse and dog track days. But yeah, that number is dropping. It is intriguing, Scott. Why?
yeah, I think here what I think is Pittsburgh had a big win last week. It was an emotional win for Pittsburgh. I think that people think they're going to come back off of that game, and then they're going to be in a let-up game today, an emotional pass. My opinion is that might very well be true. I really don't care. I think Miami is that bad of a football team. And I don't think we're asking Pittsburgh to do that much to cover 9 points. And the reason I say that is because defense plays. It doesn't matter where. I mean, defense shows up. Usually when you have a down play, it's because of the offense. And then the other team has to have an offense that can capitalize. I don't see it. I'm just playing the better team with the better athletes, with the better coaches. I'm going to run it and go. The way I'm going to look at this Black Friday, buddy. These guys are on sale. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to pay 14 points. I'm only paying 9. That's how I'm looking at it, just like that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I mean, I think you bet the better teams and you do the stuff. And we sit here every week and we want to go bet how many dogs can we find and how many, because it's just a better option. I didn't find a whole lot of that today. I found a lot of close games that might be dogs and stuff like that. But so the other game though that I did bet at noon that we can talk about too is I like Baylor. I've liked Baylor. I've liked what the Baylor team has stood for this year. I've liked the performance, and I think they're being undervalued in almost every single solitary spot. I think they're -2 or -2.5. That's the rotation number 194. I played that game EPA wise. They rank 18th, and Texas ranks 66. So there's a big difference here in a lot of spots, but primarily the difference is on offense. I mean, you look at the offense for Texas, they're 47th, Baylor's 21st, and where Baylor does it is they run the football, and Texas has a hard time on defense trying to stop anything really. They're 79th against the run, 87th against the pass. And then when you flip the switch to the other side, Baylor's 47th on offense. I mean, Texas 47th on offense, but Baylor's 43rd. So they hold up. So I kind of like the idea that over the course of the time of this game, the Baylor's going to wear the team down. I mean, the total is like 61 or something. So, they're going to score some points. It's a home game for Baylor. I like Baylor this game. Texas has been kind of hot and cold and whatever, but I'm all over Texas. My 3 o'clock. Well, let's just stop there for just a second. You've got Iowa that plays Wisconsin at noon, and I looked at that game, and there's like a mirror image of each other playing each other. Those two teams are terrible on offense, really good on defense. I think the total is like now under 37 or some crazy number. Anytime that you can take points in a low scoring game, you might as well do that. So I think Iowa is probably a good option there. I didn't play it. It's just a leaning type situation. Then you got Michigan and Michigan State, right? That's a pretty popular game. And I think people have been betting on Michigan. Does that line still 4, Jeff?
I have 4s. Pinnacle just moved it to 5 plus 4 cents. I got 4s straight across the Vegas Strip. Yeah, 4.5 at 5 dimes, a 5 at Bet Phoenix, but basically the number's 4 right now. Pinnacle trying to get a little action and moved it to 5.
I'm having a hard time with that game in a sense of trying to sell myself on who to bet. So I left it off the table for right this minute. If I was going to bet it, this is going to be against the grain. I would bet Michigan. And the reason I would bet Michigan over Michigan State is because the defense for Michigan is more elite than what it is for Michigan State. And the offense, even though it's not explosive, is better than what it is at Michigan State. So I kind of like the idea here that you can get the better team. And I know that people are betting on Michigan State because it's a rivalry game, it's a Big Ten game, and Michigan State's at home. I get all of that stuff, and that's probably the right thing to do. But I can't. I'm having a hard time betting the worst team in that spot. And a game I talked myself off the ledge on was Temple. I know that sounds really stupid, but Central Florida plays Temple today, and Central Florida was minus, I don't know, like 10.5, 11, something like that. Everybody and their brother thinks that Central Florida is going to run up the number on Temple. Temple doesn't play that well, but EPA-wise, Central Florida ranks 86 and Temple's only 96. And if that's the case, that's pretty damn close, and you're still going to give me 10, 11 points? I'll take the 10, 11 points. My concern is I don't trust Temple that well, and I don't know that team that well to sit there and tell you that Central Florida won't run all over them. So I stayed off of that. So those were kind of the big games and sort of the things. My 3:30 game is Iowa State. I played Iowa State today. I don't think it's a bad number because I don't think the number is going to go down. It's minus 7.5. I know that's not a good number, but Iowa State, that is 131 is the number, rotation number. But they're playing West Virginia, and I know this is a game where Iowa State won a big game last week, and they're going to come into a spot here where West Virginia is pretty tough at home. But I like Iowa State. Their defense is just so much better. The offense is in a much better spot than where it is with West Virginia. So I played that one, and I can't stay off this Florida State Clemson game. I don't like Clemson at all, but I like their defense, and I think Florida State's going to play enough defense to play this game under 47.5. So I went under in that game. And then my last game at night was Mississippi State. I took Mississippi State, and now the numbers flipped. So Mississippi State is 186, the rotation number, and they're now the favorites. So there you go. I'm on those games and thinking about playing on Georgia.
Well, I'll backtrack. The reason the air horn just went off was Mississippi State was one of our plays that will be later tonight. They did flip, currently taking the point and a half off the table. Going to play them. I got them on the money line minus 120 against Kentucky. Now, I'll be honest with you. Kentucky has been a thorn in my side for years, and they've nipped me a couple times. I think it's a good spot for Mississippi State. But that's one of the later games. The early games, the one that jumped out at me, and again, I have a real hard time with the nooners. It doesn't matter if it's college football or college basketball. It's always great to get that first one out of the way, and especially when you win. And I've had the worst luck at noon. The game that stuck out to me was Rutgers, rotation number 139. They're at Illinois. Illinois opened up a 1-point favorite. Currently, right now, Rutgers is 1.5. The money line is minus 122. Rutgers 3-4 versus Illinois, which is 3-5. Illinois coming off the shocker in 9 OTs, which again isn't like the old days of the 9 OTs. Once you get to the third OT, you're just going for 2-point conversions. Hats off to this coach if he gets this team mentally ready after popping off Penn State there. So that is on the desk. I haven't decided if I'm going to release that one right now. So anyone listening, do definitely have a lean on Rutgers minus the 122 on the money line. You talked about the big games, the Iowa, Wisconsin, the Michigan States. Try to stay away from the big games as much as possible. Try to dig into a couple of the smaller games, maybe less traffic, maybe a tad off on a few of the numbers there. At 3:30, have a halftime, a first half lean, and I'm going to actually show people the numbers there on this one. So I'm going to switch screens here. I will show everyone where my head is here. Move. Let's go back here. Let's go here. And of course, we goofed. So I'm just going to talk it out loud. It's rotation number 202, and it's UL Monroe versus App State. Now the full game line opened at 25.5 and is 27.5. Okay, but I want to break this down. The first half number is App State is 16. Okay, so you got a 25 now at 27, and it's 16, which to us is giving us a lead in that's saying they're expecting App State kind of to take over this game early and often. Now that doesn't mean that obviously is going to happen, but I'm going to go to the team totals for the first half. 23.5 over minus 131 for App State, and 7.5 under minus 165 for UL Monroe. So right there, does App State get to 24? Do they get to 27? And UL Monroe, do they get that touchdown, or do they get to 6-3 or 0? So I think if you can get that 16 on App State in the first half, that's a fair play there. Hoping that they win by 17, 20, 21 or something like that. Mississippi State, we talked about. The other first half game that there was a lean was rotation number 172. And that's at 7 p.m. And I'm going to go over that one right now like I just did that. Kansas versus Okie State, okay? And the full game spread on that is 30. It opened at 30.5. It's down to 29.5, okay? The first half spread is 18. Okay, so you're getting more on the plus side there, meaning they expect them to come out early and often. And the team totals for that first half is 24.5 under 149 and 3.5 over 137. So again, a 24-3. I guess the magic number for Kansas is, do they get to 6 or 7? That's what that is telling me there. Don't forget too, Kansas played their ass off last week against Oklahoma. Could come out flat. Okie State's got an amazing defense. And again, the problem with a lot of these games, when you try to dive in and look at it in that angle, is you get a lot of grab ass. You need to score touchdowns in the red zones, not field goals. And a lot of times you get egg on your face, and then, they blow them out in the second half. So that was a couple of the games that grabbed us as well, Scotty.
Yeah, I agree with those. I tried to stay away from the dynamics of every single game today, and I went through a lot of the schools that I felt like we're pretty comfortable. What I was looking for was EPA differences. And I'm really intrigued by this Georgia-Florida game that's at 3:30 today. My opinion, and we talked about this a couple times probably on the show. I can't remember if it was real deep that we talked about it. But my number one team in college football all season from the start to the finish has been Georgia. I think they've been the best team. I think they show to be the best team. So hear me out here, right? So Georgia is number 9 on EPA on offense and number 1 on EPA on defense. So they're the number 1 team in EPA margin for the thing. But the interesting thing here is Florida EPA wise is number 7. So that's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, especially after watching that damn team play. I think that I have a really hard time with the idea that they're going to be able to stop Georgia running the football. Georgia can run the football. They can also pass the football. And Florida, we saw what happened when they played LSU, for God's sakes. LSU ran all over that team and scored 40 points or whatever the hell it was. What's Georgia going to do? And then Florida went back, and then they actually looked better last week when they played Ole Miss or whoever it was. So it's an interesting thing with this Florida team, and I think they got a dual quarterback situation that I hate. I just think Georgia. I think Georgia's going to beat them by more than 14 points. I don't know how they can't, other than it's a rivalry game and all that stuff. But I think the coaching staff is better on Georgia. I think the players are better on Georgia. But how do you get yourself to bet that minus 14 number? That's the number. And it's just like Ohio State tonight. How do you get to bet Ohio State minus 18.5 or whatever the hell it is? I mean, I get it. They're a great football team, and I'm trying to figure out how this is going to play out. And if you watch that game tonight, that Ohio State game, look at the jerseys that Ohio State's wearing tonight. This is a combination they've never worn before. And it's a special, you know how Penn State always has whiteout games. Watch what they wear tonight. It's scarlet on scarlet, red on red, red tops, red pants. So it's going to be a weird look for Ohio State. It'll be probably like Buffalo when they played on Thursday night when they wore red tops, red pants, or whatever it was that one night. That's what they're going to look like. It's going to be weird looking. And then you got all these great games. I mean, you got North Carolina playing Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame is going to. I mean, I don't know what Notre Dame. What is Notre Dame? I don't know who they are. They don't have a quarterback. Their offense is ranked 100th in EPA, but they got a halfway decent defense. In North Carolina, holy shit, they got a quarterback that's supposed to be a Heisman Trophy guy who can't throw the ball. So I don't know what they are. And then you got a defensive battle with Fresno State and San Diego State tonight. Stanford plays Washington tonight. I like Washington as well. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll just have to see how this kind of stuff. There's a lot to do tonight. And then my wife wants me to go out and be dressed up in Halloween and go out and run around town and be, a crazy person.
Well, you hit another one. That's why I hit the horn. I like the flip. I like everything about it on Fresno State late tonight on that one. You know something? I'm taped, time-stamped Georgia at 8-1 to start the season. Had a couple shows with Sharapit and noticed that they dropped to 6-1 before the Clemson game, and then the 4-1 after the Clemson win, and the rest is history. I'm going to tell you this right now. I am scared shitless of this Georgia-Florida game. The biggest cocktail party in the world, Jacksonville, neutral site. This is the national title game for Florida right now. And if you look just how this season has progressed, all the big dogs got a loss. So you want chaos? Georgia loses today. Cincinnati's the number 1 team in the country on Tuesday. How's that grab you? And I was just looking at the money line. Florida plus 465 on the money line. Georgia minus 605 right now. And again, I am a diehard Georgia fan, diehard, and I know, and they are the best team in the country. It's not even up for debate. This game scares the shit out of me right now. I just keep looking at it, and I'm just like, oh my god, we got to get through this. Got to get through this game, and I don't know, Scott. I'm smelling something here, and I hope I am so wrong. I hope Georgia just comes out and goes box the wire, and I just got that weird pit in my stomach right now, Scotty.
Yeah, let me help you out here a little bit.
Okay.
Dan Mullins is going to get fired. So he and the kids aren't necessarily playing for Dan Mullen. They got two quarterbacks that are rotating in, and neither one of them are any good. They don't have an elite running back. They don't have an elite defense. They're gonna get out coached. So the scary thing is mythology. In other words, what I'm trying to tell you is that sometimes we handicappers get too caught up in what has happened and what things look like and that feel we get because we kind of feel certain things that are going to happen. And it's like the Michigan State game, right? The feel is you got to bet on Michigan State. That's the feel. That's the feel. They're not the better team. So and I get it. You don't always bet teams, you bet numbers. But when the numbers are that close, when the numbers are so close, it's like Pittsburgh. I get it. I understand. But at the same time that I understand, you have to put yourself in a position of I don't always have to bet on the field that I have. I have to bet on what the numbers tell you. So obviously I'm a numbers guy, data driven. That leads the way for me. I do have those old tinglings and all the different things from the years of handicapping and all the other stuff. And I understand why people get to a point where they sit that way and they go, holy shit, I can't bet this. Oh my God, we got to survive. Jeff, they're 14 goddamn point favorites, and you're worried if they're going to win the damn game over damn Florida, for God's sakes. They can't even beat LSU. So I'm just telling you that you got nothing to worry about in terms of the game. It's a matter of whether you really want to cover the 14 points or not. And when it comes to the cocktail party, I lived in Jacksonville for a while. I know that series pretty good. And I lived there when Florida was the better team over Georgia at that time. And that was the time when Georgia always came in, and Georgia in Jacksonville is not like ever going to be really the home team. There's not. I mean, the travel for Gainesville to Jacksonville is not very far. And there's a lot of people in Jacksonville who are not Georgia fans. So it's really going to be, it's always more Florida there anyway. So it's not really a neutral site. And as much as they play there, Georgia kids are used to it. The coaches are used to it. They're used to that travel game. I don't think that you have to worry about that aspect of that game either. So, but I mean, it's like an away game for them. But at the same time that it's an away game for them, it's something they're familiar with. So, I just think that today's games are going to be so much fun. We didn't even talk about Mississippi and Auburn today, for God's sakes. Who in the hell is Auburn? I mean, I get it. I used to love to bet Auburn when they had a defense, and now they don't have a defense. They don't have an offense, and they're actually favored over Mississippi, who can go out and score 17,000 points.
That went to a pick to 3. I'm going to ask you one quick question before we close here. Give me the EPA numbers. Houston versus SMU. I got Houston money line minus 105. There was a nice flip over the week. And then it looks like there might have been some overnight money back on SMU. So it's currently on my desk right now. What are you seeing over there?
I love Houston in this game that way. So
exactly.
Houston EPA number 8 in the country, and SMU number 43. So that's not terrible. There's a gap there, but that gap should be more like 3-4 points, right? So, but when you start to break it and look at where the gap really is, SMU is number 22 in the country on offense. Okay, well, Houston is number 4 on defense. So that kind of neutralizes that. Houston is 56 on offense, and that runs up against number 93 for SMU. So where's the edge? The edge is you got the ability to move the football for Houston. And if you break it down even further than that, SMU on defense is 113th against the pass. They can't stop the pass. And when you look at where Houston is throwing the football, they're 68, which is like right in the middle. But at this, I'm sorry, wrong numbers. Yeah, no, 68. They're 68. So I think they move the football. I think they do well, and I think that they hold SMU to basically as low numbers as they've had all and is that game still pick 'em now, or is that back to I like Houston in that game.
Yeah, let me get the latest number now for you.
I've got it like Houston -3, -4, and when I saw it, it was a pick 'em number. But I didn't lay any number on it yet.
So the computer model was a pick. Pinnacle opened at 1, went to 2. Pinnacle is actually now to 1, and it's a pick across the Vegas Strip and 1. So we're getting money coming in on SMU. So that's why I said I definitely had Houston marked and targeted all week. And it looks like overnight there was some heavy money that came back in on SMU.
I am way good with Houston though. I mean, I've won money on Houston already a couple times this year. I lost on Houston once, and the time that I lost on them was when they were a big favorite. I like them in this spot here. I just do. I just think that they're the better football team. They're a better defense. I think that matters. They're top 10 on defense on both an EPA for passing and running, and that's pretty consistent. That's pretty good. So I like that.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. We got about 35 minutes till post time. Scotty, give them your leans, your plays, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I played rotation number 138. That's Pittsburgh today. I played rotation 195. That's Baylor today. I played at 3:30 rotation 131 Iowa State. I played rotation 147, 148, which is Florida State Clemson under 47.5. And I played 186, which is Mississippi State. Those are the games I played. I still got some leans on a lot of stuff. Leans wise, I like Iowa today as a lean over Wisconsin taking the points. And if you noticed, those damn games that I actually bet, I didn't play any dogs yet. So I got to figure out how I'm going to play some dogs in there. Yeah, you got to do that. So I like Iowa as a dog today. You had brought up, I think Rutgers is one of the ones you talked about. I like Rutgers in a sense that neither one of these teams are any good. But you know what Rutgers can do? They can play defense. And I like the idea that they can play defense. So I fully support that idea that you had with that game. And I don't mind Rutgers in that spot at all.
Do you want me to give you a dog that you can break down real quick?
Yeah.
Colorado State today. What's your numbers say?
That's what time that game goes at. There it is. All right. So Boise State ranks 73rd on EPA on offense total. Colorado State ranks 40. So Colorado State's basically the better team almost by double. But where the big thing is, it's Colorado State's on defense, they rank 10th, and they rank 96th on offense. Boise State ranks 61st or 64th on offense and 71st on defense. So the question's going to be is who's going to be able to throw the football? Boise State ranks 105 passing and Colorado State 110 passing. And then if you match up them against the pass, Boise State 83rd and Colorado State 6th. So Colorado State should be able to control Boise State, and then you're looking at a spot here where you got a good dog. So I like it, Jeff. I like it. That is a good dog to be on, Colorado State. There you go.
All right, listen, I want to thank everyone that watched, listened, that reached out over the week. Thank you again. It means a lot to us. Mother Nature is still undefeated, will always be undefeated. Don't take for granted power, internet. I can tell you this, my house was down to 57 degrees, Scotty. It was an ice box. Thank God the power came on. We usually wait till November 1st to put the heat on. I can tell you this, as soon as that power came on, that heat came on. It was freezing.
You should have called me. I'd have sent you my generator.
I started doing some due diligence, and I got jinxed because we were talking about generators on Sunday. And I usually have a house full on Sunday watching the games and stuff. And my buddy just bought a house, and he was talking how he's got his generator up as we were talking about the storm. One of the guys that comes over does meteorology on the side. He's always been fascinated. He does real well with it. And he was pre-warning us. And I had some pros and cons about generators. And then, so the funny thing is, where we live, we've been blessed. We started our 16th year, and we've only had power out a handful of times. We're right next to a school, and we're right next to a satellite police station. So power always comes back like this. And this summer, we had back-to-back days where bad storms, and we had no power for a while. So sitting in the dark stewing. So now I'm trying to say, okay, I'm going to go to Home Depot. I'm going to go to Lowe's. I'm going to go buy a generator and then plug it in. We're going to have power. And I'm like, I know it doesn't work like that. I know you need an electrician and yada, yada. So we are doing our due diligence. We are looking into generators. So, but again, thanks everyone. And listen, follow myself at EC Sports Invest. Follow Scotty at Webby20 MLB. We'll follow you back. DMs are always wide open. We'll answer any question that you have for us. Send us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. And if you have an extra 5 seconds, go over to YouTube and Twitch at East Coast Sports Investors. Just subscribe. That's all we ask. We're trying to build up this stuff. We're the OGs here. We're not the millennials. So for us to go out and do a TikTok video, I don't need to twist and break a hip or anything. So we try to stay here and keep it simple. As we like to say, we educate with a few entertainment moments. So for myself and Scott, everyone, best of luck today. Stay in your lanes. Okay, a full day and night of college football. We got the World Series tonight. You got NBA, you got NHL. I mean, it's paradise for the action junkie. And, we want you here tomorrow. We want you here on Monday, November 1st already. And maybe even 2022 if you want. So if you're wagering today, always wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number out there to reach out and ask for help. Why? Because we care. Okay. And so best of luck with your wagers today. And from myself and Scott, we thank you again. And we'll see you the same time tomorrow. Have a great day.